Alright, so some of you asked about my training regimen, and so today I want to share with you some of the details about my current training, specifically, my running, but I'll also talk about my supplemental training, my strength training, and cross training in general. And I want to sort of give you an idea of my plans and my goals and how I wish to progress with my running over the next few months and over the next few years even, because it's building fitness is a long-term thing. It takes time. So today I just want to give you that sort of scope on my training and where it's going. So first of all, let's talk about my goals. Well, as of right now, my goals are quite ambitious. Let's just say I would like to build myself up to a point where I can compete at an international level in the sport. And when I say the sport, I mean running, but I mean specifically trail running, mountain running, and ultra marathon distance type running. So we're talking long distance runs with a lot of vertical through trails and that sort of thing. I do enjoy road running as well though, and of course the build-up will be long. It takes time to get up to ultra-marathon shape. So building up to that, I'll focus more on shorter distances first and slowly get myself there. My motivations will probably change over the years, but right now I'm obsessed. I'm running is everything I think about almost. And I love it. I love everything about it. The theoretical aspects, training itself, getting out there, being around in nature, moving our bodies, the health aspects of being fit. So I'm motivated from a lot of different angles. And after I decided to take my running seriously, so to speak, I've started implementing a training plan where I basically write down what I'm going to do and sort of try and plan it out in a scientific manner. But of course I'm still learning. There's a lot of learning to be done, and I've had a few setbacks. In the last year I had 3 almost 4 months actually where I was completely out, couldn't train at all after a reaction to the rabies vaccine. I have a video on the channel if you haven't seen that. So that sucked, because that meant I lost a lot of fitness that I've started building up, and I couldn't really progress as fast as I wanted to, so I had to sort of take a new look at my goals over the next few years. And as I've trained, I've learned again and again the lesson that things take longer than I thought. My first goal would be Transvulcania, which is a race on the island of La Palma in the Canary Islands. About 72 kilometers, I believe. Pretty extreme race, and I thought I was going to be able to sort of just build up to that in a couple of years. And of course, it's probably possible to finish that race within just a couple of years of training. But I don't want to really sort of put myself through an extreme physical ordeal that will damage my health and cause me to sort of be injured maybe, or not being able to train consistently afterwards. So I'd rather wait. So I realized, it's going to take more than 2 years. It's going to take 3 years, maybe even 4, to get to that point where I can healthfully and competitively maybe even race a race like that. So I've learned that lesson again and again, that it takes longer time than I thought it would do. I've also just recently had a minor injury, sort of shin splints or something like that, which sort of means I couldn't run for 2 weeks. I'm still sort of in that period. I'm looking at maybe running again in a few days, trying and slowly getting into it again. And I also have a neck injury right now. From the gym I was lifting and I had bad form, and I strained one of the muscles in the neck. Not much fun, so that's why I'm a little stiff if you look at me. Well, so injuries, they suck, but that's sort of part of it. The learning process, actually learning where your limits are. Because to know where your limits are, sometimes you have to go past the limit to know where it is. So I've gone past the limit a couple of times, and I sort of try to balance just under the limit, be conservative, but push up against that, pushing the envelope, so to speak. That's part of successful training, to be able to train as hard as possible without going beyond what your body can absorb at any given time. Now, the specifics of my training is basically I am looking to increase my weekly mileage, as they say, my weekly volume of running, the amounts of kilometers that I run in a week. I'm looking to increase that over time. Of course, when you increase mileage, when you increase volume, your body needs some time to adapt to that new stress, and it will take a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before your body is fully adapted to that new level of stress. And you can't really add other stresses at the same time. This is what I just did just recently. I added too much stress in too short of a period. I ended up with some shin splints. I had to scale back 2 weeks off running, and that's not very productive. So you want to have enough time to build up your mileage, and that's what I'm doing. I'm planning on I have a 3-year plan for increasing my volume up to a peak of maybe around 200 kilometers per week, which is a lot of running. But that's what's necessary, maybe around, at least 100 miles, 160 kilometers up to 200 kilometers seems to be the norm in terms of how much volume you have to be able to handle to be able to compete in these ultra races. And that's just, you can't just increase that in like a year or two. So we're talking a total of 3 or 4 or 5 years to really get to that point. But of course, in the meantime, I don't want to just always increase my volume every week and then keep that intensity low. I'd also like to sort of throw in a little bit of speed in there and to run a little bit faster on maybe some shorter races, and then build progress naturally through the different distances. And so right now I'm at about 31 kilometers per week, which is not really that much if you look at it in a relative sense. But of course it is the most that I've ever done, the highest mileage I've ever sustained. So 31 kilometers per week, and I do it pretty much over 4 runs. So I'll have a long run every week, and then the 3 other runs are just easy runs. And right now, because I'm working on building that volume, I'm not really doing any type of speed work or anything like that. Well, I did do that, and that's when I got injured. So I just want to keep it easy and then work myself up to 40 kilometers, 50, 60, and that's probably going to be what I do this year. Just get up to about 60 kilometers per week by the end of this year. And in the meantime, in the middle there, while doing this, I'll have some periods where I keep my volume the same, but throw in a little bit of maybe lactate threshold type workouts and a little bit more speed work, because I have 2 goals this year mainly. Really just one main goal, and that is a half marathon. I actually have a half marathon coming up now in June, but I'm not going to be able to do much speed work or anything before that, so my legs won't really be able to handle running at my aerobic capacity in terms of velocity during that race. So I thought I'll just use that race as a training, and I'm going to run together with my dad, and we're just going to take it slow and easy. Not slow, but like just take it relaxed, and I'll just do the distance, get a feel for the distance. Then as the months go through the summer, my plan is to throw in more of the lactate threshold workouts, more of the speed and even the VO2 max type work, and to get to a point where I can race a half marathon in September at a higher performance. So probably not a very high performance still, because just running off something like 50 kilometers a week, that's not really that much. So I'll have to, it's just, I'm getting familiar with some of these distances. That's all I'm doing this year. Then next year I am planning on keep increasing my mileage, probably getting up to maybe 120 kilometers per week or something like that, if everything goes as planned, which it never does, of course. But hopefully I'll get up to about 120 per week, and I'll get familiar with the marathon, that year. And then the year after that, maybe that's when I can start doing some ultra distances, maybe even Transvulcania already. And it takes time. I've heard something like for an athlete to reach his or her peak, it's necessary to train for about 10,000 hours. And if you do 1,000 hours a year, that's a lot. So that's 10 years of a lot of training to go to your peak. And I'm already 31, so in a sense, I'm already at the age where I should peak. But I've started a little bit too late, of course, although I have a fairly good foundation athletically from my life in general. But in terms of running, I've just been taking it seriously for about a year. So yeah, it takes time, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the process so much, and the whole planning process is fun as well. And I you know, frankly, I don't have enough experience to say that I will definitely be able to do this next year or do that the year after. Things might go faster, but probably more likely go slower than I think it will, as I get to know my body and my limits and my capabilities. So I enjoy that process. I enjoy reading and learning and experimenting and just, you know, embracing this whole experience, because I really want to make the most of it. Like, what I mean by that is I really want to give it my all. I want to give it my all, this running thing. So let's see how that goes. You know, my motivations, they change often. So, you know, who knows, in a year I might not feel like pursuing this anymore. Although I do think I will, though. So let's see. In addition to running, of course, I do supplemental training. I realize that as you increase running fitness, as you work towards building your running fitness, you have to run most of the time. I can't really do much other training. Like, I can't spend lots of time bicycling as cross training if I want to be good at running. You have to maximize the time spent doing a specific sport you want to get good at. But in the process of building up, you know, my legs are adapting to the impact of running. Well, there's room for cross training to keep working on my aerobic system without stressing the legs, to sort of fill the gap in there and here and there. So I think over the next few months and also years, I'll probably use bicycling and maybe even rowing machines and that sort of thing as a kind of cross training stimulus in between, maybe once or twice a week, you know, just to sort of get a little bit more of an aerobic stimulus. But that's still going to be in the backseat. Running is going to be the main thing, of course. As far as supplemental training goes, I feel like stretching, a little bit of stretching here and there is a good idea, and strength training is a very good idea in my opinion. I think as a runner, you need upper body strength as well. You need lower body strength, of course, and you get all this from running, but you also need to actually go to the gym and lift weights. That's what I believe in. And for upper body as well, you need a strong upper body to maintain that posture and to maintain form while running. And imagine running uphill. Your lower back has to be able to sort of carry your upper body in a good way the whole time. So yes, I will keep doing strength. At the moment, I have focused a lot on strength because my running volume is so low that I can utilize that extra time and energy to build up my upper body in terms of mass. So I've been doing hypertrophy, lifting heavy, gaining muscle mass, and then I'm going to stop doing that pretty soon and just maintain that and start working more on the strength component, because I don't want to get too heavy, of course, and I'm not even close to being too heavy, but you know, I don't want to be heavy at all. Actually, I want to be light but strong still. So over the next few months, I'm going to find a nice routine where I maybe do strength twice a week, something like that, mostly to maintain the muscle mass that I have and to fine-tune the different muscles involved in running and working on the core and all that sort of stuff. So over the long term, I'll probably get up to, you know, running at least 6 days a week. Well, I like to have one rest day, and right now I'm running 4 days. Well, right now I'm not running at all because I have this injury, but this period I've planned 4 days a week and 2 days at the gym. I'll go up to 5 and 6 days a week running pretty soon and still maintain it at 2 days a week in the gym. Then over time I'll start running twice a day probably now and then, and we'll see where it goes. But generally the plan is just increase volume slowly but surely, keep training strength and supplementing the training with that, doing some cross training here and there, focusing on half marathon first, maybe a 10K here and there, marathon next year probably, ultra marathon eventually, yes, hopefully, we'll see. It's very enjoyable. I do enjoy the process, and the whole training, exercise physiology in general is just something I find extremely interesting. And of course, eating a high carbohydrate, low fat, fruit-based diet is also it's perfect for this kind of stuff, because it supports human health, it supports optimal health, and supports optimal performance, I believe. If you're into running and stuff, you could follow me on Strava. I mean, I don't really advertise as much on this channel, but I am on Strava. My name is Mikkel Gisle Johnsen. I don't know if you can sort of really understand that in English, but you can read it down in the description. I'll post a link to my Strava profile, where you can look at my training. And as I said, most of my training these days is quite easy training, and just building up, getting my body fit, getting my body used to running, and realizing that it does take time. And I'm patient. As long as I can be out there running on most days of the week, I'm happy. Right now that I'm injured because I was pushing too hard too quickly, I do suffer. Sitting here and trying to heal, it's not much fun. And now the neck injury from the gym, I'm just like, oh my god. Lesson learned. I need to be more focused on perfecting my training regimen, which is a constant, of course, process. You're always learning. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to get more videos like this, let me know down in the comment section. You know, if you want to hear anything about my training in general, or anything specific, any questions you may have, I'm happy to answer them for you. I also, offer health coaching if you're interested in learning more about fitness in general, or running, or just health. I'm happy to assist you there. It's done via Skype, private Skype conversations. So the information is on our website. All right, I'm gonna sit here today. I need to heal this neck thing. It's really bothering me. So I'm just gonna lay down on the couch and relax and heal. And then within a few days, at least within a couple of weeks, I'll be back, hopefully at my normal running level, and ready to hit it hard for the next few months and years to come. All right, have a good day. See you around.